Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY, our final get-together of 2020 before we celebrate our first anniversary next Saturday.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a year almost.
It's been a blast.
Be watching for the new Cadillac Unscripted Facebook page. I have tasked one of my former students with building us a Facebook page, and there may be a special bonus in it for one of our followers.
All right.
Should we wait until next week? We'll leave that as a tease.
Oh, absolutely. It's a carrot dangling out there.
All right, that sounds good. Katy, we have is this a third timer or a fourth timer on our show?
He's going to set a record. Yeah. We have the executive director of the Cadillac area YMCA with us today, Mike Kelso. And Mike is a good friend, and he does so much for the community. And, oh, man, you want to talk about having to change lanes and scramble, Rich. This board of directors, under Mike's leadership, had to redo their fundraiser, Dancing with the Y-Stars, which raises incredible amounts of money. It's the largest fundraiser in the area. And had to be completely reworked because you can't ballroom dance and
attract a crowd.
You can't attract a crowd,
Nope.
and especially the numbers that this brings in.
Yeah.
Tell us how you did it and how you did.
Well, we did it. We wrestled with ourselves for a bit to figure out, you kind of have to play the waiting game for a while, right?
Yes.
Can we still hold out? Can we do this? In about August, we said, all right, even if we could do it right now, just the prep and the work to get there just is impossible.
Right.
So it's such a big event.
Right.
So we, brainstormed some ideas with the committee, and I finally said, things are just so uncertain week to week. Like, we need to go 100% virtual. We can't risk on doing any kind of even modified live event.
Okay.
But I think we really need to stay dance themed because that's what the community expects of us after 10 years, and keep it fun because it's a fun event. So try to recreate as much of the feeling as we can.
It's excitement.
Yeah, and still have a fundraiser. So we, there's some great creative minds on our committee came up with dancing by myself for the Y, and good parody of music there, and recruited some folks and, very willing people and put themselves out there. So, and we stretched it out over time rather than doing like a live event on one day. Just that social media attention is tough to get, but using it to build over weeks, that's already there, right? So kind of playing on that part of that process. So yeah, we did an awesome promo video that featured yourself that really got us kicked off well.
We had fun with that.
Yes, that was a blast, and that kicked it off well. So yeah, we had thousands of views and whatnot, and I think almost 150 people voted and raised just under $10,000. So not as much as our big event, but we're selling tickets for dinner and a show, and doing just this over social media. So we were happy with that.
And I have to say, Mike, that I was happy about the placeholder concept with it, meaning don't lose your place. This is a proven winner, and so it had to be modified, and it didn't look the same, but you still did it, though.
Yep.
And so the community can expect it to continue, whatever this is going to look like from here on out.
Yeah, and I think it helped us build our audience and build, on social media and connect to people that we hadn't connected to before. That's what I love about the cast changes every year, and the same thing happened with this year's event.
Yes.
It was a new cast of people that got connected to the Y and connected to the community in a different way, and so that was great.
I think it's very important to have new people because new people bring in other new people.
Yes.
Families who maybe haven't experienced the Y before, and all the extended family comes in and they participate, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, and actually one thing I noticed, because I see all the details and analytics, as it's going on and done, was because it was virtual, because there was really no borders to it, we had people that were former residents of Cadillac, that maybe relatives of the people who were participating, donated and voted, even though they may live in Arizona or California or whatever now. There was a number of those that happened that we wouldn't have got otherwise. So people connecting back to their community that had moved away. So
well, I tell the cast every year that they are sort of the celebrity du jour of Cadillac, because everyone wants to know who are the dancers this year, and what are the costumes like, and there really is this tension and excitement with the event. And I chuckle because if someone's been a doctor in Cadillac for 20 years, that's how we see them. And I have a friend who's a builder, Jason Burton, who owns Price Right construction. And, Jason went to the event and saw a good friend of his participate in it and threw his hat in the ring. Well, as the event got closer, I called him on something, and he answered the phone, future winner of Dancing with the Y Stars.
Wow.
And I said, now, Jason, I'm a believer, okay? But I said, you might want to, slow your roll. And we just helped. And I'll be darned if he didn't win the whole thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I guess my point is just this takes people out of their day-to-day world and challenges them to do something different, to be something different, and to be really good at it. And you see that every year.
Yep.
I mean, these folks are getting really, really good. So.
Yeah, and it connects them to the community a different way. Like, I don't know Jason very well, but I got to have an interaction with him after the dance.
Sure.
And he came and actually was a speaker for our Teen Impact program.
Awesome.
Graduation, kind of told his story of hard work and developing a business and that type of thing, so it connected him to the Y.
Neat.
Yeah.
Unintended consequences,
Yeah.
and it's all going the right way for you, Mike. Yeah. Can you tell us about the budget at the Y, the programming at the Y? How is it going?
Yeah, so it's been a little bit of a tough year, as it has been for most businesses. So we were happy to get open in June, and from June to now, it's been 6 months. Yeah, 6 months so now. We started doing some programming, and then things got a little hot in October, November, and the restrictions started coming back. So we're not able to do group programming right now, which really kind of hurt come mid-November. But we are still open for individual activities, so swimming laps and lifting weights and treadmill, and then using the basketball court by reservation for families, like individual household or reserving family swim
creative.
time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so pretty much everything now is by reservation, just so we can control our flow and our capacity. But pretty much everyone can get in every day when they like to. Just may have to pick a little bit different hour for those reservations. But one thing that has been cool out of that is I'm seeing families. They used to be really super busy with individual activities. Unfortunately, those things are canceled right now. Mm-hmm. So they're coming to the Y and
together.
Together instead of just one part of the family. So a little bit of silver lining there. But overall, like program and membership, we're down about 35%, which is pretty tough. Mm-hmm. So, and then, this is the time of year we start getting busier. Right. So I'm curious to see what happens here over Christmas break and going into January. If we can get back to programming, hopefully mid-January, because people need it. They're just begging for things to do.
Right.
So,
do you do for virtual classes?
Yes.
Okay.
So we did keep our group exercise classes going. They're all via Zoom, and you can sign up for those, and you get the Zoom link. Our instructors are teaching to an iPad and a little microphone, so it was a little strange for them to adapt, but everyone's been really good about adapting. They just want to stay connected to their people, their community members and members that they've been serving, and so we're on, version 4 point whatever of implementing a lot of programs in just interesting ways. So,
what can the community do to support you financially?
We're in the middle of our kind of annual campaign for donations for the year to support our scholarship programs and our youth outreach programs. We're still really trying to reach out to youth virtually through Teen Impact meetings being virtually in Teen Center. Really about those kids being isolated with high school being out, and hopefully they get back here in January. That financial gifts help us be available to everybody.
Right.
And do those programs that don't make good business sense to do, like Teen Center and Teen Impact, but allows us to meet the needs of people that really need it and need a little extra help to be successful. It
doesn't always pay for itself.
Yeah. Those are the things that people don't necessarily want to do. So, because they don't make money, but we want to make good citizens, so that's why we do them.
Mm-hmm. And when you hear these kids, Rich, it reminds me of some of your stories with your job, this Teen Impact program and the mentoring that goes on there. And then they start feeling more confident and more comfortable in their own skin and hopefully go on to success.
And the mentoring is really, really important. And I think it's been a lot harder over the last 9 months, and especially with the school, from the school perspective, over the last about 5 weeks, where we were basically mandated to give meaningful instruction and curriculum. And it's really hard to do over a computer screen, especially from our perspective where it's all hands-on. And the kids who are struggling are the ones we need to reach the most.
Oh, boy.
Attendance has dropped off as far as some of the kids. And those are the ones that need it the most, and those are the ones who are struggling the most. So, as you said, Mike, we really need to get closer back to normal as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. Mike, can you tell us when there are folks out there in the community that cannot afford a membership to the Y, what does that look like? And they want to participate in some things. How do you work through that?
So, typically what happens is, they may come on a day pass or visit, like, I want to get membership, but it's a little too expensive for me. All right, well, we do have financial assistance. Here's the information. You need to provide us some income independence. And then we just say, all right, we can knock this much % off for you. Does that work for you?
Okay.
Or what are you able to pay? And so we supplement and reduce that fee. So it's a scholarship, a partial scholarship.
Wow. And there's there's a model.
We have like a sliding scale.
I see.
Yeah, based on income and number of dependents.
I think that's important for people to know.
Yeah.
Does some of that money that typically comes from Dancing with the Y Stars get directed into scholarship piles?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's we're doing $2,000 to $3,000 a month in financial aid, and that hasn't fallen off too much. And we'll see what happens here as things move on with the economy, if that increases. So,
At one point on your wish list was an expansion. Is that something that you're going to put on hold until you can stabilize here?
Yeah, we hadn't gotten too far down the road of figuring out the details of that. It was just more we really peaked in 2018, 19, really kind of getting to capacity and going, ooh, we really got to think about what's next. So I think we're definitely a pause on that to see how all this settles out,
right,
and how needs change, right? What we needed then, what we thought we needed then,
yes,
might change. So, before you get too far into that, you're doing feasibility studies and whatnot to make sure you're doing it right.
It might not go back to, everybody gets to work out all together. It might not be like that, where you've got your bikes and your that kind of stuff.
Yep.
That might change.
Yeah, the slowdown happened quick. I think the recovery will be slow.
Okay.
Got to get consumer confidence back and health things back. And so we're kind of more so preparing for that. At what rate are we going to bounce back? And what do we have to do to bounce back? And what program needs are going to be maybe different.
And I think people's willingness to bounce back might outstrip their abilities financially to bounce back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Sure.
We all want to get back to normal. And, we want to get back to concerts, and we want to get back to events, and we want to get back to gathering together, but that's going to come slow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It'll be curious to see when we've made a lot of changes to live virtually and to connect virtually, which we were already kind of doing a little bit anyways, right? Mm-hmm. Once it doesn't become what's necessary and we can get that back, how many people stay there and how many people move back to more direct contact, just based on. But I'm a believer in that human connection is innately in us. Mm-hmm. We need that.
We need it.
Even those that think they don't will somehow gravitate back to that. So it's anticipating how they're going to and how to fulfill that need is going to probably be a little different. So.
Okay. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Mike about health, wellness, and New Year's resolutions in 2021.
And Cadillac Unscripted is sponsored by Independent Bank and Marianne Quist of RE/MAX Central. Back in a moment on 107.9 CDY. Buying a home is still the great American dream. And yes, it can be an intimidating process. But you can rest assured and have confidence when the professionals from RE/MAX Central are in your corner to guide you through it. Marianne Quist of RE/MAX Central has helped hundreds of home buyers in and around the Cadillac area navigate the process over the years, and she's ready to help you too. From start to finish, from finding a home to submitting an offer, to understanding the purchase agreement, to inspections, surveys, and appraisals, to the time when you finally sit down and sign those closing documents, Marianne will be there. When you're ready to buy, talk to Marianne Quist at RE/MAX Central. See her listings at teamquist.com. Back now on 107.9 CDY and Cadillac Unscripted for part 2 with our friend Mike Kelso from the Cadillac area YMCA. Katy?
Yeah, we talked about where we've been, but I want to talk about where we're going. It's just a new normal, as we've discussed. And New Year's resolutions, we're right here, during that window of time where people start thinking about, this is what I want to do to be better, just a better person, better mentally, physically. Give us your thoughts on how the Y can play a role in that, and what New Year's resolutions should look like.
Yeah, so I mean, we're a organization that definitely gets a lot of attention around that. January, the people start typically coming. I think that will still be the same this year.
Is there a spike in January?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. It spikes in January, and it really ramps up till about March.
Okay.
Even those that don't New Year's resolution in January, I call the next wave is cabin fever. It's here in northern Michigan is March,
Yes.
and then we'll usually peak in March, and then the nice weather comes in April and May, and then starts kind of going down. But
Okay.
The thing with New Year's resolutions, a lot of times they don't stick. We all know that. And why is that? So at the Y, we try to think of ways to engage people deeper and quicker in that time frame, because we normally only have a window of opportunity to get them to stick with it.
I see.
And it's typically a little overwhelming because there's so many new people at once.
Right. You're trying to get to know all of them.
Yeah, try to get to know all of them and get them connected with a specific activity or program or a specific group of people.
I see.
Right. So
something that sticks.
Right? They may have an idea of, a lot of times it's too general. I just want to get healthy. I want to lose weight. I want this. Getting something, smart goals, right?
Right.
Specific, measurable, attainable. I can't remember, what's the R?
Okay.
I lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But getting specific is the biggest thing.
I see.
And something T, that's the time sensitive.
Okay.
In there. Reasonable, that's the R. Completely out of order. Anyways. So that they don't get discouraged right away and get a partner in it. So if they don't come with family or a partner, we'll do our little fitness challenges, and you get extra points for finding somebody new to be a partner and to try different things at the Y, just so they can find the thing that works for them.
I see.
Because especially guys, we're kind of meatheads sometimes. We'll be like, I'm
What?
just going to go in there, and if I just, lift my maximum weight I can on day one, then that's going to work. I'll get there quicker. And then you're hurt and you can't walk the next day, and you go, that's it, I'm done. Right? Be like, slow down. Don't go big too quick.
Right.
And let's find you a workout buddy.
Right.
That's what really helps those things stick.
That's where that reasonable comes in your SMART goals.
Reasonable. There you go.
Yeah.
So is it true that finding a workout partner equates to long-term success, or could, or the odds are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Or group exercise.
Okay.
The industry across the board says, if you can do things in group rather than individual, again, that kind of goes back to what we're dealing with. But, when we are the group exercise instructors, you're not just there to teach fitness, you're there to make connections. So those little conversations in the hallway before you go into yoga or cardio sculpt is what makes that work for the long term. It's not necessarily just the class content, it's the relationship of, hey, where were you last week? I didn't see you. That little accountability partner stuff.
Sure.
That just sometimes happens just naturally. It's not completely facilitated, but we try to talk to our staff to, like, those times before and after class are important. It's not just about the class.
They're supporting each other.
Yeah. Wow. And they're great about it. I mean, a lot of those, they line up right outside my office window, and I see the little communities come together every hour, and they're all just a little different. Mm-hmm. But it's a cool thing to see. What's
the most popular thing at the Y? And I know there's a lot of programming, but I'd say overall, aquatics in the pool is staying the test of time, because, up until we built the Y 11 years ago now, we didn't have a accessible community pool. So that's really big. The last couple of years, pickleball has been huge for our adults and our older adults. And then after that, I would say probably the teen center. And that's a pretty unique thing that we offer too. So great. Some people don't know this, Rich, but I lived it. And you cannot send your kids to daycare programming at the Y with Twinkies and Ho-Hos and pizzas. That does not, and I might have been an offender in that area at one point. I can remember getting a little note that said maybe we could have some better choices. And sometimes you pick what's easy and you throw it in a lunchbox or whatever. Can you talk about that? I mean, that was a really smart segue. We're all exercising here at the Y. Now we've got young kids here, and we're doing really fun things with them in a daycare setting. But that segues into healthy eating, doesn't it?
Yes, and that's been a big initiative of YMCA USA for a number of years. Healthy out of school time and healthy eating, physical activity standards that are just really part of a way of life for us now. And we work really closely with Chartwell's through CAPS, provides most of our meals. Some of our really young, early childhood meals we're making ourselves, but of them creating meals for us to those standards, which was a big challenge. And it took some work over years to get there, because they have all sorts of standards, federal food program and school standards, and then we throw this other one at them in order to have the contract with us, and they've really done that. So,
and it can get expensive.
Yeah,
too.
Yep. I'm trying to make all that work economically and providing free meals, especially to our after-school teen kids. I remember when we first started it, and actually, hey, there's going to be a fruit or vegetable in here every day. I was shocked at the number of middle school age kids that couldn't even identify some of the fruits and vegetables that I thought were pretty common. Mm-hmm. They just had never had them in their home. And so there was an education element to that as well.
Awesome.
And creating fun things with them, especially with our younger kids, using the vegetables and the fruits to make fun looking, meals to make it. Yeah.
So you talk about the teen center. You serve these important populations, older folks that don't interact in jobs during the day. And so the Y is their social outlet. Then you've got the teen impact kids that maybe have had some struggles and they need some mentoring and help. Then you've got your little ones. Social media, screen time. We're all trying to break ourselves into less of it, and our families into less of it. How does the Y handle that? I mean, do you talk to kids about how much time they're spending gaming on their phones and this kind of thing?
Yeah, so it's the evolution of that. I've seen it probably change 3 times in my 16 years of working with the Y. So at first it was like just less.
Okay.
This big wave of screen time and social media. We need to keep kids from doing that and keep them active more. And then it became quite obvious that this was just going to be a way of life, that screen time and social media is going to be a way of life. So if it's going to be a way of life, how can we keep it safe?
Okay.
Socially safe and physically safe, just from all the negative things that can happen in that world.
Texting and driving and knowing who you're talking to online and the cyberbullying. So then we said, all right, well, we can't prevent that world from happening. Let's just try to make it safe, and then teach balance. Mm-hmm. And then how to use, if you really love technology, how to use that to stay active. So, in our Youth Fit program they had a number of years ago, we introduced Fitbits. When Fitbits were like the first or second or third one, I don't know how many they've had now. Mm-hmm. And that was a big deal. That was a big carrot to get them to want to be physically active, because they got to play with the technology. I see.
Right? And so hey, we got to embrace it, but still try to, about life balance, balancing those things so that, yeah, you can play your video game. And we actually have computers in the teen center, but your limit's 30 minutes.
I like it.
And you got to get up and go do something. Mm-hmm. Remember the pool and the gym that you walked by? Yeah, we've got that too. Go do that.
Right.
Come on, let's get a game started.
Yes.
So just balancing things is really where we went. And then in the last 9 months, now we need social media and screen time to get educated and to stay connected. Right. So we had to kind of evolve again. And now, for some more time, Teen Center was only happening through a screen. So embracing that, and then we're dealing with the mental health issues and isolation. So those are kind of 3 different ways we've evolved with addressing it. So we'll see, again, what happens next.
Right.
How much of that sticks? How much do we go back to where we were, and how do we reconcile that?
Right. This is, I know, kind of painting with a broad brush, but exercise. How much exercise do we need a day?
Yeah. So there's the 5-2-1-0 they have for kids. So 5 fruits or vegetables, 2 hours or less of screen time, an hour of physical activity a day for a kid, and 0 sugary drinks is really the goal to try to get a lifestyle to.
Okay, well, this was really, what's it called?
5-2-1-0.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's not just a Y program, that's a national program, but a lot of our Ys buy into that, with really the elementary through probably junior high hit that well. So we try to say, all right, which one of those are you hitting? Which one do you want to go for first? Mm-hmm. Let's get that one. All right, now you got the 2. let's try to get the 5 fruits or vegetables a day. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. They might hit it in 3 areas, but not in the other 2.
Yeah. It's all about just trying to improve each time.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned outreach, and we know the Y has a loyal following of seniors. So for folks that have quarantined during COVID and they've sort of fallen off the radar, how are you communicating with those people, those members?
Yeah, so a number of things we've done. Initially we were just doing well chat calls of like, hey, this all just happened. Are you getting your medication and do you have groceries, right? That was a biggie for that group. And are you okay? Do you have somebody to talk to? Then we were able to get Senior Fit back going for a while and then had to back off. So we said, you can't come as a group, but you can come individually and then log your stuff. And then the instructor calls and checks on them each week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they can come on their own at least and maybe walk with one other person instead of having a whole big class. One great partnership we developed that's I thought would be temporary and has gone on and on with our Council on Aging. We're doing grocery shopping for them still, which I don't know, we started months ago because we got folks that they're not going to navigate the technology to get the grocery pickup or delivery. We're still doing the old school, write it on the little note or the napkin, and
I love it.
Council on Aging staff gets it, we get it, we go shopping, we drop it off. So that's
I think Doreen's been in on this with you too, because Doreen Lance.
Well, actually, Amy Gibbs, she started doing it for Harborview, and then they got a little overwhelming with too many, so she called me up. She's like, I need help. And so we kind of took another segment that was starting to crop up that wasn't at Harborview, at Kirtland Terrace and some throughout the county. And then we kind of formalized it with Council on Aging just as more of a, just getting the strategy down and the logistics down just so we can have a couple staff just be automatic going.
That's just amazing. You
It's
guys
a wonderful
met.
service.
I think about elderly people at home. They can't go anywhere. They can't see anyone. They can't do anything. And now they don't have any food in their house. So it's just, hats off to you guys for jumping on that so quickly. You've been doing this for how many months, the grocery shopping?
Yeah, I think we started, it's been a blur, right? So May, June? Yeah, I think it was before we opened the facility back up. The Council on Aging folks are great. They had the trouble of, they were in people's homes so much, which they needed to be, but then they had to segment that and back that off and reprioritize their services. So I was like, well, we can help with this piece, and then you guys can do this stuff that you've always done.
Right. Because this is an additional service now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they were kind of doing it, but not quite to this level, and they couldn't just throw it in all together because of just some of the risk factors there for people.
So for our folks out in our listening audience that want to help the Y, can you give us some different areas? I know we'd like to see checks come in. Wouldn't that be nice? Another Dylan donation would be beautiful. But how can they help you out right now? You mentioned over 30% down in the budget. That leaves a mark. So how can the community help you?
Other than financially, one, just letting people know that we're open. Everyone's so confused about what's open and not open. And if it's somebody that is comfortable and isn't at risk to get out and go be active and participate in those things, if you're talking to somebody who's just, they're in that rut of, I'm just at home, I'm getting depressed, they can just call us. We have people that our members that haven't come to actually just call and chat to our staff throughout the day. I don't know how much, we don't get a huge volume of that. I don't have a call center, but I think a lot of times when we get overwhelmed, we get in a rut and we just don't take action anymore, right? I think there's probably a number of people that weren't seen that are just at home and they just don't know what to do because things change so much and they don't take action.
They're overwhelmed.
Yeah. So if go to the Y for a day, just to walk the track.
Yeah.
And you won't have to necessarily be by somebody. You can just pass them by, but you'll see other people and be not in the same 4 walls that you're seeing right now. Just getting people connected to whatever they need to be connected to, whether it's the Y. The people need different services than maybe they did ever time in their life. Calling 211 to find out, and that's the United Way helps make that happen in our community and all over the state, in the U.S., I believe, but I don't know where to go for help. Call 211. They'll tell you where to go for help. But if you don't know where to go help and you know someone at the Y and that's where you want to call us. We'll connect you to something. So.
That is awesome. Well, thank you for everything that you're doing to meet people and meet their needs and to connect people, Mike. That's so important. We just wish you the very best in 2021, and we want to have you back and hear about your next big success. Congratulations on Dancing with the Y Stars to you and your board, and we can't wait to see what the Y is going to do next in our community.
Yes, thank you.
Next week will be our first anniversary show. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and we'll have something special for you next week. Same time, same station. Cadillac Unscripted is sponsored by Marianne Quist of Remax Central and Independent Bank. We'll see you next week on 107.9 CDY.